Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This is your host, Martini, along with the oh-so-fabulous Becky McNattin. We are so glad to have you listening as we live and share stories of mental health.
We are a socially isolated mass of people, Tara.
Yep.
I think you would totally agree with this.
Yep.
And you and I have talked over the course of several of our shows about the negative impacts or just the impacts of social isolation. And what's so fascinating to me about this is that in some ways, we have never been more surrounded by people and opportunity for connection.
Mm-hmm.
We have never been more surrounded. And in fact, we're bombarded with messaging around this. But despite this, lots of people weigh in that we have never been lonelier.
Right. And think of during pandemic and post-pandemic, like you just said, the juxtaposition between we have never been around more people.
Yeah.
But we also have never felt lonelier.
Right. So we're this connected and disconnected at the same time. And you and I have been thinking about this a ton and wanted to devote a whole show around possibilities here. That one is that people don't really know what to talk about. And that's kind of, you and I have a working hypothesis on that, that we don't know how to ask questions to get at truly knowing another person.
Which would be uncomfortable, right? If you don't know what to ask.
If you don't know.
Right? So it's easier to avoid.
And then we end up having conversations that we don't feel connecting and we spin or have tons of content around things that don't feel meaningful and purposeful. I was just having a conversation the other day with someone who said to me that I think highlights what all of us feel, that they're asked the same questions all the time. 2 questions: how is work and how are the kids? And this person said to me in a totally exasperated voice, none of these questions are actually about me.
Which is such a good point.
It was such a good point because both of these are fairly activating questions. And I'm going to say this because as a therapist, I hear how activating these are. It's quite possible that these topics are stressful for people. How is work and how are the kids? And we don't know what to say back to people who have asked us about something stressful because we don't know if we should really say it's awful or it's
just
super
be
stressful.
Honest.
And so these questions also don't really help us know someone personally either. They're questions about roles. And it's okay to understand things about people's roles, but that doesn't necessarily tell us about them.
No, it talks about the hats they wear.
Yes.
But not what's inside.
And can be limiting around then how we understand someone. And it got me thinking after I had this exchange with this person, how often I ask these questions to people. How is work and how are the kids? Or I ask about their roles and whether it actually helps me know them. What are your thoughts on that, Tara?
I think it's so similar to one of our last episodes, that idea of asking, how are you? Right? It's one of those empty questions of that, hey, it's automatic. It doesn't mean you're not being genuine, but it is so automatic, it becomes empty. Right? And what do you say then? Because it's either like, oh, work's going well, or oh, it's not, or it's crazy. There's very prescribed answers like we talked about with how are you? And so, but that also for people that have a hard time coming up with questions, it's very safe for them, right? Because you and I, we are feelers and thinkers, so it's easier for us to generate questions. But for the people who struggle, that is their safety net. And so it is an automatic thing that they're going to do.
Right. And for listeners today, please take a challenge with me and Tara. We're taking a challenge today. We're creating a toolbox for meaningful connection. What are the things, if you don't know what to say or what to ask, here's what you can. And we're going to offer a challenge to our listeners to embrace in the week ahead, because there is a mental health impact here.
There is.
It's going to be a great discussion. I can't wait.
It's going to be fun.
Right now, we're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned. We're going to be talking about ways that you can get to know the people in your life more meaningfully, more purposefully, more thoughtfully. Thank you for listening to Feels Out Loud. We will be right back.
From nobody else, all you got to do now
Welcome back to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. I am Becky McNattin along with Tara Martini. I want to get back right into questions and discussion for connection.
Let's do this. So something I think many of us have heard, but I wanted to reiterate is, so Harvard child researcher Paul Harris found that children ask around 100 questions per day.
Whoa.
100 questions per day.
Wow.
However, for adults, the number is just above 20 per day.
Oh my gosh.
So is it because we fill our day with other things? We become less curious? We simply don't care? Becky, why do you think we do this? Or what are your thoughts other than your mouth is open, jaws dropped?
I'm shocked. Well, one, because I feel like I'm kind of a child. I ask so many questions.
Well, it is your job.
I ask so many questions. I think it doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
So that it makes me sad. Why do I think we ask less questions? I think we become more monotonous as adults, and we fall into patterns and habits that kids have such a beautiful way of saying, why?
Yes.
Why are we doing this thing?
Yes.
And questioning that we don't necessarily know the answers as adults, but we kind of disconnect from the world around us from that space of wonder. And I do see it as a muscle that atrophies over the course of time. I do see curiosity as a muscle.
And thinking of it like kids are not, it's not just them asking 100 questions of what color is that? What is that? It's like you said, the why piece, which is a deeper level question. And so it's amazing that kids are just natural questioners. They are naturally curious. And one thing they always say about an intelligent community or environment is there are seekers of knowledge. There are people who ask questions, because it's that piece of you should always be wanting to progress. You should always be curious and wanting to do more. And we start out with that mentality, but somewhere along the way, whether it's things become mundane or we simply don't care or grow less curious. But what we're not thinking about is the impact of us personally, right? The impact of if we don't ask questions, what are the ramifications of us interpersonally? So you might be listening right now and thinking, girl, I still think I'm curious. I do care about others around me. And honey, I feel very connected to my loved ones and friends in my circle. Okay, I get it. Many of you may feel that way. But if you really took a moment to pause, and I thought of this when, for our relationship, when is the last time you put effort into developing an even deeper connection and understanding of the people around you, like kids do each day?
Well said.
Because so often I'm with you every single day, and it's, how's your day going?
Yes.
Right? What are you having for lunch? Yesterday by the microwave.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That, how are the clients today? Where, how often do we really take the time? So check this out. This to me blew my mind. I also love that it was like more than 20 years ago. And then it was like in 1997 or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, I was in high school. That wasn't that long ago. So more than 20 years ago, a team of psychology researchers led by psychologist Arthur Aaron conducted an experiment called the experimental generation of interpersonal closeness.
Okay.
Yes. That demonstrated that you could create a sense of closeness or intimacy with a stranger.
Wow.
Simply by asking and answering a set of 36 questions.
That's incredible.
It is. Isn't that crazy? Now, if we had hours of time, I would love to take every single question and ask them, right? Or bring in two complete strangers and see how this played out. But we don't have that much time. So here's what they found, which is frankly bizarre. But what was the closeness, but was it produced in the experimental condition the same as the real closeness we feel with long-term partners and friends? The researchers reported that the closeness produced in these studies was similar to the real closeness we feel in everyday relationships.
Wow, that's amazing.
Isn't it? So, how did the questions work? The 36 questions called for self-disclosure, and there were 3 sets of questions and each set of 12. So people had to be willing to share of themselves and be vulnerable.
Yeah, be open and honest.
Right? So there's those 2 pieces. The intensity of the questions gradually increased, and they were fit into various kind of subtypes of your life. They could only spend 15 minutes on each set.
Okay.
Nowadays, you could, when we go over this, we could spend as much time as you like, but it's recommended that you and your friend or partner take turns reading each question aloud to one another, with both people answering the posed question. For the sake of time, we're just going to go through each set, but we're just going to ask a couple from each one to kind of see how we would respond to this.
And normally in the sets, there would be 12 questions.
Yes. So if you're sitting there going, girl, we want to hear all of them, literally, you can just Google the experimental generation of interpersonal closeness experiment.
Love that.
So here we go. Set 1. Given the choice of anyone in the world, Becky, who would you want as a dinner guest?
Oh my gosh.
It's a big question.
Oprah.
It's a good one.
Okay.
Good one. Love it.
The first thought.
I love this. Number 2. If you're able to live to the age of 90, okay, so you're 90 years old, and can keep either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last years of your life, which one? Do you want the mind of a 30-year-old or a body of a 30-year-old?
The body.
Okay, why do you say body?
I say body because I love the wisdom of an aging mind. The people who I have sat with who have been able to become we could all be so lucky to become for 90 years, the energy and wisdom that comes from that, I would love.
Okay. Your answer is so much better than mine was.
What's yours?
I thought was, well, I have to take the mind of a 30-year-old, because if I looked like I'm 30 and I'm actually 90, that's going to creep every other 90-year-old man out. Like, everyone's going to think I'm their granddaughter. Now, I love that that's the difference in each of us. I think like a middle schooler.
Yep.
Okay. So that is set 1. So if you kind of think about it, set 1 is more reflective in nature.
Got it.
Number 2, set 2. Is there something you have dreamed of doing for a long time, Becky? Have you done it? And if not, why?
Well, I feel like I dream every single day. So every new
You're a
day,
dreamer.
I am a dreamer. And I'm in this personal stage of my life where I'm trying to challenge myself to do those things. So actually, it was a dream of mine to write a children's book. And I did do that. What would you say?
Becky has a dream and then she fulfills it. Like, you just have this amazing like goal every single day. It's phenomenal. I would say, I mean, it's such a generic answer, but traveling to Italy has always been a dream. And living there for a summer. I've not done it. And this made me reflect because the why behind it. The why, because I always envisioned going for the first time, like with my whole family and whatever. And then I realized that's not realistic. So then I changed my dream to, I just want to get there. And I've realized that can happen.
Yeah.
Even next summer.
Yeah.
Right. So it's also looking at, can we adjust our dreams to make them more manageable?
Yes.
Okay. Then the same set. What roles do love and affection play in your life?
Oh my gosh, they're like my best friends. They're not only roles; I have relationships with them. I frequently ask myself in the morning, how can I say hello and greet love today?
Can you say that again?
How do I say hello and greet love today? What would that look like? And I actually challenge myself around that. So they're big roles in my life.
For me, I not only, yes, they are big roles, but I need them in my life.
Yeah,
they are a necessity. And I've learned through relationships, and now that I'm 45, that I can't go without them. I need to feel loved. I need to love, and I need to feel affection to be able to give affection.
What a great set of questions in set 2.
See?
Yeah.
Set 3. I loved this next one that I would totally use like with my family or in a classroom. Make 3 true we statements. For example, I'll do the first one. And this is the example they give in the experiment. We are both in this room feeling inspired.
Okay. So the people together who are talking
so
have to
the two
figure
of us
out what are your commonalities and enough to make 3 true statements. And does each person weigh in on that, or do you just come up with a statement?
Let's just say whatever you feel like. But right now,
I'm going to say we both in this room, or we're both moms trying to navigate it the best we can.
Amen. Amen. We are both females.
Yes. Well
needing
said.
to remind the world that we deserve a place and a voice.
Yes. I love that. What great questions and what cool research. And I'm thinking about how easy it could be to look up the series of questions and maybe even offer a personal challenge to ourselves around knowing the people in our world. If this allows us to know a stranger in a close way, that we could know the people who we're actually close to in a close way.
Isn't that incredible? Love that. And here's the thing. We both have families. And it's that thing I said in the intro of we obviously know our families extremely well. But have I asked Isabella these questions?
Yes.
No, I don't know if I've asked her any of these questions. So what a great way for us to deepen our connection with people we already have a deep connection with.
And for us to share of ourselves too. Because sometimes questions are a highlight to an extension of our own vulnerability in what we could share to connect with people. Obviously, in that last segment or that last set, we have to develop commonality statements. And so it's a personal challenge of what am I willing and do I need to share with you about me so you know me better too?
Right. So that I can make that statement of we, right? And so I'm starting to understand more, even just we went through like 5 of how you could truly feel that way with a stranger at the end of the experiment.
Yes.
Because it's deeper than just what's your favorite color, right? It's finding like that. You can't just make 3 we statements until you've put work into it, right? Where we already had that background with each other. So I want to look at, so we've looked at this experiment. We've been our minds have been blown by the facts and results of it. And we obviously know that questions are good for building connection. But I want to look at what the actual benefits of asking questions are. Okay. So asking thoughtful questions can significantly deepen emotional connection in relationships by fostering self-disclosure, building trust, and promoting a sense of emotional safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I loved that last piece. It increases your sense of emotional safety.
Yeah.
Because the more I'm willing to be vulnerable and ask these questions and my partner or friend to take the time to respond to them, the safer I'm going to feel, right? Or the more safe. So these questions can also help friends stay connected and maintain curiosity about each other. Number 1, should we go every other for this one?
Sure.
Okay, so number 1, fostering self-disclosure. When you ask open-ended, thoughtful questions, you encourage each other to share personal thoughts and feelings, which is a crucial element of any friendship or relationship.
And you and I would say required.
Absolutely.
And showing that interest in another person's experiences and perspectives that comes through the questions that we ask. It really does, everybody. It builds trust and emotional safety.
Yep.
It builds trust and emotional safety, as you were just saying, Tara. Individuals can create this environment where the other person or others in relationship feel valued and safe to express themselves. Questions do this.
Yes. And the crazy thing, which you may not realize, is if Becky is willing to answer questions, it makes me think, wow, she feels safe enough with me and values me enough as a human to share that of herself with me. And what an honor that is and a privilege, right?
Totally.
Because she's not just doing that with everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So it builds that trust. Next one is maintaining curiosity. Girl, I feel like that's one of the most widely used words on our show is curiosity.
I think it is.
And but also preventing stagnation. So regularly asking questions demonstrates a willingness to learn more about the other person's inner self and prevents the relationship from becoming mundane. And I don't just mean in a romantic relationship, right? We can go through periods where a friendship plateaus.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Where it's that piece of, oh, well, it's my best friend since middle school, know her super well.
Yep.
Why not take an opportunity to strengthen that a little bit more and deepen it when we do just get into a comfortable plateau? And that can be true with coworkers and friends as well.
Yep. Well, it's leads to this metaphor of emotional ping pong.
Oh yeah, girl.
And this might be a little scary to people when they think about asking questions, but the process of asking and answering questions can be likened to this emotional ping pong. A back and forth. Picture this, everybody, where active listening and then mutual engagement create a dynamic flow of connection between people.
It's
beautiful.
Now think, though, if the other person isn't willing. That other person just hitting that ball right at you. You're doing nothing.
You do it.
Right? And it's that piece of it, in all seriousness, you have to have two to be engaged.
Yes.
For this to work.
Yes.
Otherwise, you've got one person whose arm is very exhausted and the other person going, what? I have all these bruises on me. Well, that's not going to work.
Yes, because if somebody asks you a question, you can answer it. And then you probably need to ask a question back.
Yeah.
Ask the question back. So you and I wanted to give people some tools.
Yes.
And we've talked about a few that people can ask people in their world. It's interesting also because our listeners have been kind of curious about you and me.
Well, yes, we realize that there's so much about us we don't talk about.
Yes.
And we kind of keep sharing, a lot of the same thing because our topics are about mental health.
So we get to know each other better while we're going to do this. We're going to give people some tools and we're going to allow you to learn about us a little bit too. But take these questions or thoughts as strategies that you could implement even today with your people. And so I'm going to start with some questions for you, Tara.
Okay.
So I have just a couple of tips.
Yep.
My first tip is when you are meeting somebody, and you can actually do this with somebody who you even know really well, look for a detail about the person and ask the story about it. So notice a detail that is small. And this works really well around accessories. So Tara, I want you to tell me the story of your watch. You're wearing a black watch.
I am. Okay. So I love the story of this black watch. So what you may know, Becky knows for sure, is I'm one of the cheapest humans in the whole world.
Yes.
And I don't like buying things at full price. So this is back when I actually shopped at Target before. Saw at Target in the clearance section, this watch.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I love this watch, but I'm still too cheap even to buy it in the clearance section at Target. But I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And I obviously said this several times to Isabella at Target. And so she went and she bought it and then gave it to me for Christmas.
Oh,
yes.
I love that.
So
not only
sweet.
is it's a memory with, and it became a gift.
Yeah.
See, so everybody notice a detail.
Yep.
People love to share about where they got something, and they'll even tell you if it's kind of a mundane story.
Right.
My second tip about this, highlight a paradox. So people are complex and they love complexity. People really like talking about the complexity of their lives. And so take paradox. And Tara, I'm going to ask you, what is something you do really well but loathe doing? So everybody, did you hear the paradox there? Something Tara does really well but loathes doing.
This is so bad to say, but I'm not teaching anymore. So. I love teaching kids how to be better writers. But Lord help me, I hate grading their papers.
Okay. So something you do really well, and you're probably a good grader. Something you do really well, but don't like doing.
I just hate that part. But as I tell the kids, it's part of the writing process, right? And you want feedback and reflection, all those things. But Lord, I hated it.
So you can have this question in your back pocket and ask somebody. It's almost always going to get them to laugh too. One, because they do well with it and they have a sense of mastery and they have some feels about it. Speaking of emotions, utilize an emotion in your questions. So this gets at the person, not their roles.
Which you said earlier.
Yes.
It's that idea of their role isn't who they are.
Yes. And so, Tara, what's made you laugh today? She laughs right now. I got at the emotion. I sure could have said, what have your experiences with joy been recently? But I'm going to say, what's made you laugh today? Fantastic question to ask people.
What made me laugh today was that, so like many old homes, we have a visitor named Mouse, and I felt too guilty using the ones that like kill it instantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, no, we need to do the one where they like eat the poison and they just go back. And then in my head, I envision them just like falling asleep and dying. Okay, no, let me tell you the opposite. And it was front and center for poor Isabella this morning, walking into the kitchen with no contacts in. And she looks down and there is the saddest sight of this adorable little mouse. Like seriously, mice are actually really cute. And it is literally like crawling again. And I go, or it had looked like it had crawled. And Isabella goes, ah, there's a mouse. And I said, well, is it dead or alive? Well, she couldn't see because she didn't have her contacts. So she had to get like a centimeter from it to be able to tell. And she's like, it's alive, it's alive. And she was freaking out.
Oh,
and I am
great.
laughing so hard at her this morning, even though it was a combination of joy and such sorrow for that sweet little
and
mouse.
kind of disgust.
So may she rest in peace.
But I love it. Okay, so asking somebody, what's made you laugh today? We also want to promote people laughing.
Yes. And if they can't think of it, sorry to interrupt. If they can't think of what is something that made you laugh today, that's okay. Okay, then what's something, the last thing you remember laughing about?
Yes.
Right? So that you can help them out.
Great
This isn't
point.
supposed to be like a pressure cooker.
Right. So my fourth tip, take the weather. We often ask people about the weather. Make it real. So take the weather. If it's raining outside, something like, did you ever play in the rain? If it's snowing, so notice what the weather is and then ask how that was applied to that person's life. If it's snowing, did you have a favorite sledding hill growing up?
Such a great idea.
If it's sunny, which is what it is right now, Tara, would you rather sun or shade? Are you a sun or shade human?
Well, as you know, because we've traveled, I am a sun person for a little bit, but the majority of the vacation, I need that shade and I will move as much as I need to still sit in it and savor it.
That's so I hope people can hear this. And if you're going to comment about the weather, that's great. Actually, it's a very joining thing. You're both experiencing the weather at the same time, but ask somebody to apply it to their lives and don't just stop at what a sunny day it is outside.
Yep.
Would you rather have sun or shade?
And it is such a good idea, like you said, because it doesn't just have to be sunny. It could be, like you said, it's raining or it's snowing or whatever it is. I mean, you really, a human being has a story attached to every experience of weather.
Right. And speaking of memories, that's my last tip. Ask about a memory. So people love to share about things that bring up fondness. They do. But use some creativity because often we get stuck in asking favorites.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we do.
I'm going to leave everyone here with a tip. Ask about firsts. Ask about firsts. Don't ask about favorites. Ask about firsts because it's going to get people to begin to think about their first with something. So Tara, what's the first thing you remember buying with your own money? And this can always be ask about first when you're initially meeting someone.
One of the first things I remember buying with my own money was the Green Day Dookie CD.
Amazing. That's a brilliant purchase. Well done. Okay, so those are my tips, and we all get to know you a little bit better.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, now I have to ask Becky, though, really quickly. What is the first thing you remember buying with your own money?
Well, like infinite crafts. I'm
glad you said crafts.
Crafts. I started earning money really young, and
that doesn't surprise anyone who knows you.
I was effectively had a job and organized all sorts of things in my neighborhood around ways to earn money. So, but I loved to save up my money and buy clothes.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, so then what I did was, now it's my turn to ask questions for Becky, is I thought, so one of the things that I did with my job that I love doing was PD or professional development. I would present for other teachers or counselors. And one of the things that I mentioned in the last episode is that I was a school counselor in an online setting, which presents a lot of challenges regarding connection. So I would do PDs to help online schools increase their sense of connection with their students. And so I kind of created tips and questions from one of those PDs that I did.
Okay.
So first one, it is because people can struggle on, oh my gosh, there's one answer. I don't know how I'm going to get to that one correct answer, right? Where if you say something like, just name the first 5 words that pop into your head when I say the word friendship.
Yeah.
And it could be 5 of the most random words ever.
Yep.
But at least it's known to be safe and okay. So Becky, when I say friendship, what are 5 words you think of?
Connection, dreaming, love, together, thoughtful.
Love it. Okay. Now here is a step you can do. And so if you want to examine friendship, you ask this question, because this could be used the first step toward examining your existing friendships and going, okay, so Becky mentioned dreaming, trust, whatever. Reflect on whether or not your friendships possess those traits.
Oh, yeah. Gives you a springboard for a talking point.
So it's a this and that. If you are a teacher in a classroom, you say to your students, name the first 5 words that pop into your head when I say the word teacher. The kids shout them out. You think to yourself, so great. It forms that connection. It helps you understand what a child is seeking in you.
Yeah.
And then you can do a bit of self-reflection going, do I possess those traits that these kids are saying? Right?
That's a great idea.
Just an idea. One thing that I think people focus so much on, whether you are a teacher or, you know, a therapist or anyone, is that idea of, we always say like, are you okay? Right?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
We definitely do.
What if you start with, or even the how are you, which we talk about in our one of our last episodes, but what if you simply said, what is something you're proud of this week?
What a great question. It kind of gets at even what made you laugh today or recently, where we're asking people to highlight some of the positive aspects of their life in addition to what some of the challenges might be.
Yep. So what is something you're proud of?
Something I'm literally proud of. I've been working on a business name change with a couple of insurance payers, and I just yesterday got a check that said my business name in the mail. So proud of,
so exciting,
of such a, what feels like a little moment, but a really big moment in progress around logistics.
And you have put so much work into it.
So I felt very proud yesterday of getting that done.
Proud. And that's what I love about questions like this.
Yes.
Right? Because it's not just, it's that idea of whether it's a student or a friend or coworker, it's that positive piece of we all have value and we all have something we should be proud of.
Yes.
So another one.
And something we should be proud of every week.
Yes.
Every day too. But
great point. Great point.
That there's new things to be proud of all the time.
Yep. And that is, you bring up a very good point in that, for if you're thinking now and you're a teacher, it might be difficult to say, well, what are you proud of today? Right? Because a kiddo may need a broader spectrum to pick from.
Yeah.
So it's that, what are you proud of this week? Okay. Again, if they draw a blank, you can say, well, what's something you're proud of that you've done?
Yeah.
You can always make it bigger.
Yeah.
This one, I love having people ask and answer this question because well, first, the question is that I'm asking Becky is, what is one falsehood about yourself that you would like to let go of? Such a deep question.
Hugely deep question.
Here is why it's such a cool question to ask, because whoever you share that with, let's say it's a friend, can be used as a source of support now because they know of that falsehood and they can help you let go of that falsehood because you've just put it into the universe. How often do we keep those falsehoods that we've created for ourselves inside?
Even knowing that they exist.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes it's asks us to ponder our lives and what we believe about ourselves to recognize that it's a falsehood. I would say one that I'm growingly trying to work on is that that hard work gets you a place that you can like rest in, that somehow there's an absence of, if you keep working hard, that you'll be able to just like get to this end result. And I would say that's rooted in more deeply a falsehood around I'll matter when you matter.
Oh.
And a belief around I will matter as a human being if and when I've helped you matter.
Wow. Wow. Now saying that out loud, you've put it out there.
I totally have.
And now you have a friend
to every
that
listener.
Can help you, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so thank you for being vulnerable, by the way, with that. One other question is a great thing to do, whether it at any age, right? It's very rare for someone to know someone in every chapter of their story or every phase of their life, right?
Yes,
because like
absolutely.
Becky and Amanda at work, who are my dear friends, well, they didn't meet me till I was in my 40s, right? So as much as they know me well now, they had no idea about like college or high school, right? If you, let's say you're like, well, I've been friends, like you and your husband have known each other since high school. Well, then you would say to your husband, tell me about you in elementary school.
Yeah.
Okay. There's always a chapter.
Got it.
So Becky, describe yourself in your high school days.
Well, honestly, very similar to what I am right now. I liked to dress up to go to school. Really different from wearing pajama pants right now. But I like to dress up to go to school. I organized and led pretty much absolutely every single thing I could organize and lead. I was super into theater. I enjoyed being part of extracurriculars. I was the kid who did lots of things and was super busy.
You were. And I sometime will have more time to talk about, oh, she's got some good stories of things she did in school.
I did.
So now, rather than looking at the exchange of a series of questions like we've done, and we came up with some great questions, I want to look at what actual strategies that go deeper or are different than just question asking.
Yeah.
Where we can combine question asking with building connection in a more structured way. So here are ideas I have shared with fellow teachers, counselors, therapists, whatever it is. First one is story cards. Story cards I keep in my office, and they are literally a deck of cards that have random pictures on them. Picture of a park, picture of a broken pot with a plant, a crayon, whatever. And then with those pictures comes a list of questions, right?
Yeah.
So pick the picture that connects to your childhood. So it's a great way in therapy if someone is struggling to kind of open up. It's also great for a PD experience to get to know staff. Also, I use this in many facets of my life. Wheel of questions is what I creatively called it. And that's just, you take a pinwheel or a wheel, like for a game board.
Yeah.
And in marker, you just put different questions. That way, the client, the student, whoever does feel in control because they get to flick that little thing.
Yeah.
Without realizing inevitably they're going to do something I want, right? But they get some engagement in it. One of my last ones, my absolute favorite thing I started in teaching, I still own this thing, and it's been a fan favorite, is something called Question in a Box. I actually have families that I've worked with in the past that I will have them create a question in a box. And what that means is you take a box and you just cut strips of paper.
Love that.
And whether it's the kids in your classroom or it is your study group in college or it is your family members at the dining table, you come up with random questions. Gross things from would you rather take a bath in mayonnaise or ketchup? Or it could be a deep one of, what's a regret you have?
Sure.
Anything.
Yeah.
And I will say it never got old doing this for 20 years as a teacher. I still have the box in my office with the slips of paper from questions that kids had generated.
So cool.
It gives them, it's empowering and fun.
I love that. Well, and anybody here who's listening, you can do this at home.
Yes,
you can have a question in a box that you do with your people in your world, coworkers, anybody. So much to think about here. We are headed to a commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk through listener questions on the how-tos of getting to know someone. Feels Out Loud will process your thoughts in just a moment.
All you got to do
are back again with Feels Out Loud, and this is the part of the show where we talk through questions from our beautiful listeners. If you have a question related to mental wellness, sharing feelings, or our topics for each week that you would like us to process through, please visit our website at becomingtogethermn.com and find the Feels Out Loud page to submit a question directly, or email us at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. We really do want to hear from you and what you are wondering about.
Big gratitude to our listeners who have sent us in questions about challenges with getting to know people in meaningful ways. This is hard.
It is hard. It is
hard. And taking new strategies can be clunky. So gratitude to the people who sent us in questions. One person says, I love this idea of building a stronger connection with those around me, but my partner is not one for deep conversation. Any ideas on how I could get them to share?
I mean, that speaks to a whole lot of listeners.
Yes. What would you say, Tara?
Well, listener, thank you for being so vulnerable and asking a question I bet so many people wonder about, right? Because it's rare that each partner or a set of best friends come in at the same level of comfort regarding question asking. So first, I say think small steps and start with simple. This will increase their comfort level. So, for example, rather than ask some open-ended question that they have to come up with the answer, start with a would you rather, because that lends itself to literally they pick one of two answers. And that's all they have to do. Okay. So like I gave the example in the last segment, would you rather take a bath in ketchup or mayonnaise? Probably not one that's going to build a connection in a relationship, but just an example. They just have to decide ketchup or mayonnaise. That's it.
They have two choices there. Yep.
So questions or multiple choice questions. One question that is cute to ask, and it's could be multiple choice, is what would your bumper sticker of life say? And then come up with 4 of them and ask your partner, right? If then you get to a point where they've kind of nailed the multiple choice and the open-ended, then you can move into things like, okay, I just bought you a bumper sticker for your car. What's it going to say?
Yes. Well, and you brought up in the last segment what I guess I would say to this listener. A question in a box could be a great idea if you're looking for connection, but your partner isn't necessarily one who comes up with deep conversation. Maybe take some time on your own to develop some questions, put them in, and know that you're going to have some reciprocity, and you'll take out a question and then they'll take out a question and ask you.
Yes.
So you've maybe been the one to do a little bit of the legwork ahead of time. If you're one who has more of an affinity for this, but recognizing then that what they're doing is almost turning these questions into a game.
Yep. Love. And that is so much less threatening when you say game rather than, honey, let's sit down and ask some thought-provoking questions to each other.
Yes.
Also, along the lines of if your partner or you have a hard time coming up with questions, ladies and gentlemen, just Google search. You can type in fun questions to ask a partner or a friend, or random questions to ask, and they can generate questions for you.
Yeah. So
that you don't have to come up with them. So any obstacle can be overcome by doing simple things like that. And it's also too, with someone who has a hard time thinking of a question on the spot, question in box is a great one because they can generate questions on their own time, right? It could be on their lunch break. It could be when they get home and have some quiet time. It could be before bed, but it allows that flexibility with others.
And thinking about where are you when you could ask these questions? Consider times you're driving in the car as an opportunity to ask questions. It doesn't need to be a designated half hour or hour of time that maybe we don't even have. So when you say, how could I get them to share? Look for just opportune spaces to ask a question.
For sure. And you can also simply go on and there's books like 50 questions to ask someone on a road trip.
Well, thank you everyone for listening today. Join us next week as we have a special guest on to talk about gender differences in seeking mental health care. And in the week ahead, be kind to yourself. Remember that connection fosters wellness, and your voice is one the world around you needs to hear. Share yourselves, friends.
Some will, some won't. I wanna